The legend of Teke Teke is one of the most terrifying urban folklore stories in Japan. Although the girl's name and the full details of her life remain unknown, the story of her tragic death echoes through the streets, alleys, and train stations of Japan. Many years ago, this young woman was known for her beauty and delicacy, but also for her reserved nature. She often walked alone, lost in her thoughts, which made her the subject of gossip and rumors. Some said she was pursued by envy, while others believed she harbored a dark secret. One cold winter night, on her way home after school, something terrible happened. No one knows if it was an accident, if she jumped, or if she was pushed, but the young woman fell onto the subway tracks. The train approached rapidly, and the conductor couldn't stop in time. The impact was devastating. Her body was severed in half, and the horrific scene left the few witnesses in shock. The incident was recorded as a tragic accident, but rumors began to circulate. Some claimed to have heard desperate screams moments before, while others swore they saw suspicious shadows around the platform. Since then, something supernatural has taken hold of the area. Reports began to emerge of a female figure, without the lower half of her body, crawling through the streets and stations. With bloody elbows and a gleaming scythe in her hands, she sought revenge. The distinctive sound of her movement, teke teke teke, was the only warning victims had before encountering her. It is said that if you hear that sound, run as fast as you can, for in an instant, she will be right behind you. One of the most famous stories about teke teke involves a young man named Hiroshi. He was a dedicated student who often stayed late at his school library. On a rainy night, while walking home, Hiroshi felt an unexpected chill as he crossed a bridge. The area was deserted, except for the soft sound of rain and wind. Suddenly, he heard a strange noise, teke teke teke. At first, he thought it was just the echo of his own footsteps, but the sound continued even when he stopped. Looking around, he saw nothing but the darkness of the night. Hiroshi tried to ignore the unease and quickened his pace. Shortly after, he spotted a girl standing at the window of an abandoned building near the school. She was incredibly beautiful, with long dark hair that partially obscured her face. But something seemed off. That school was for boys only, and the building in question had been closed for years. Curious, Hiroshi called out to her, "Hey, what are you doing there?" The girl didn't reply. Instead, she tilted her head, revealing a disturbing smile. Before Hiroshi could react, she leaped from the window. The sound he heard next was horrifying, the impact of something heavy hitting the ground, followed by the familiar teke teke teke. When he realized what was happening, it was already too late. The figure was crawling toward him at an alarming speed. Her clothes were torn and stained with blood, and the scythe in her hand reflected the dim light from the street lamps. Hiroshi ran like never before. The sound, teke teke teke, grew louder, closer, as if it were echoing inside his head. He felt his heart racing and his breath faltering, but he didn't dare look back. Turning a corner, he tripped and fell to the ground. Before he could get up, the girl was on top of him. Her eyes were empty, yet full of deadly intent. With a single swing of her scythe, Hiroshi was cut in half. The next day, the police found the boy's mutilated body near the bridge. The case was filed as a violent attack, but the locals knew the truth. That area was now avoided by everyone, especially at night. The legend of Teke Teke continued to grow, with new stories surfacing from time to time. Some say she doesn't just seek revenge, but also desires company. Her victims, once severed in half, become like her, lost souls doomed to crawl eternally and spread terror. Others believe there is a way to escape. According to an old account, if you encounter Teke Teke and manage to answer her questions correctly, she may spare your life. However, the questions are cryptic, and a single mistake means a horrible fate. To this day, many people claim to have heard the sound of Teke Teke while walking alone at night. The legend is not just a scary tale. For many, it is a warning. If you find yourself on a deserted street and hear that sound, don't hesitate. Run as fast as you can and don't look back. After all, you never know who might be lurking in the shadows, waiting to turn your fear into reality.